Good evening, everyone. I am Professor Christian McGlothlin. I am the creative pit boss of Ghost Show Press, and this is The Ghost Show. Now, why are you here? We're glad you're here. It may be because you're familiar with some of our previous work, like you might have spotted me in the documentary The Exorcist Untold, or maybe you're familiar with the books that me and the wonderful people in the rest of the grid have put out over the years. Like, for instance, maybe we shivered your artistic soul with transgressive horror. Maybe we expanded your universe with subversive sci-fi. Maybe you became a winner the day that you got your copy of Fantastic Flops. Or maybe you ran it back with us on Transgressive Horror Resurrected and you want to do it one more time with Subversive Sci-Fi Evolution. And the Kickstarter, the link for that Kickstarter is right there in the YouTube chat. You could go to it right now and pledge and make that fifth book happen, because I would think it's the goal of every right-thinking person to make it to where there are so many books here that clumsy me can't possibly hold them all up. And then you get to see me comically get to juggle these and see how badly I can injure myself with these hardcover beauties. Let's make that happen. Let's make a great book and a serious personal injury happen all at once. And you can do that by donating what you can here. You can get the current book in print, in electronic. You can get our entire back catalog in any format that you choose at the lowest price ever. Heck, check the site. I'll even send you a free one if you're curious what the rest of it's like, or what the next one's going to be like. And if you have no money right now, I know how that is, but hey, costs nothing to share that link. We all know someone that's completely obsessed with movies, and we are them. We write for them. Make us happy. Make your friends happy. We are all real human beings writing real words about real art for other real human beings. Help us fight against the machine. Help us put back the tide of AI slop for at least one more time. Please help us out. And if you've already supported us, thank you. We appreciate you tuning in. But now let's get to the real reason you're here. That's not to listen to me rant and rave. You'd sign up for my class if that's what you really wanted. But let's talk about the incredibly talented, much more engaging, entertaining people who've joined us here tonight. Some of the stars of the Ghost Show cast, veterans of all 4 books and soon to be 5. And I'm just going to go around the grid and give them a chance to introduce themselves, tell you why they're awesome here. And starting off to, well, as I'm looking at it, my right, Jason Walters. Say that and tell the little folks about yourself.
Hi, I'm Jason Walters. I am the owner of High Rock Press. I am the general manager of book distributor and game distributor Indie Press Revolution. I am also the chief publisher at Hero Games, still releasing books after 44 years. Yes.
Hey.
Yeah.
Still deflecting bullets with your books.
Yeah. Okay. That did happen. Yes. It turns out that no matter how thick you make a role-playing game book, it isn't actually bulletproof. I also live in small town Nevada, where I raise chickens. So
there you go.
Chickens?
Alrighty.
Chickens. Yeah.
That's so cool.
Yeah, I'm a chicken farmer as well.
And what a great segue over to Chloe. Chloe, say hello to the people and tell them what you do.
Hello, everybody. I am Chloe Maviel. I am the founder of Mucky Pup Press, a little ramshackle guerrilla operation putting out tons of zines about music, comic books, and movies, which is more, I guess, kind of geared towards all of this. I don't do anything else. That's all I do. I don't raise chickens. I have a lot of cats and a dog, but nothing as cool as chickens. And yeah, I'm thrilled to be back for another book. I'm hoping that we get enough so that eventually they'll just topple every time you try to pick them up to show them on screen. They're just gonna completely topple you over. So that's the goal, yes. And I'm glad to contribute to that effort in particular.
Yes. I want to have my own version of Vanna White. or I have to hire somebody younger and prettier just to hold the books, gesture at them meaningfully.
We're just gonna get you in an evening gown.
Whatever it takes to get these books funded.
Exactly.
Seriously, I would put that as a stretch goal if I thought it would help. Yeah. Well, before I lamely offered that I have a dog somewhere, John, you want to tell us about your books and any animals that you own?
Well, certainly. Unlike the other two worthies who just introduced themselves, I'm not a full-time creative. I've been doing freelance writing for quite some time now. I mean, it goes back over 2 decades. I've done role-playing gaming in a number of different genres. I've done technical writing. I've done editing. I've done some minor fiction writing, neo-pulp. What else? And of course, I've worked on all 4 volumes of the Ghost Show. And we started off with my essay on why the original Godzilla was an out-and-out horror movie, not simply a kaiju film. I think that's only been reinforced by the releases of Shin Godzilla and Godzilla -1.
You were ahead of the curve.
Absolutely.
Then we went to Subversive Sci-Fi, and I tackled Fantastic Planet, which is an extremely cool French/Polish animated film that more people should see and ponder, and has all sorts of layers of complexity to it, and is just sort of it's just sort of its own thing. And I saw it as a kid and was reamazed when I watched it again. Then Fantastic Flops, I covered the Kirsten Stewart vehicle Underwater, which more people should have seen. It was not just a redux of aliens, set an undersea base. Much cooler film than people gave it credit for. Should have been successful. Claustrophobic horror. There is so much going on behind the scenes that is implied there. Great genre film. Then I was hard pressed for Transgressive Horror Resurrected, but upon a random partial rewatch of Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory, I realized that Willy Wonka is a psychopath. When I went back and read the 2 books, especially the second book, even though it's never been covered on film, that tracks with the source material. Willy Wonka is a nut, and he's a dangerous nut. And those kids, with maybe one exception, and even then, she's only 12 years old, did not deserve the fates they were given. And frankly, he doesn't give a damn about Charlie or his grandfather. Yeah, the man was a psychopath. Now, Gene Wilder made him a genial, charming, lovable psychopath, but he's a psychopath. Absolutely. And that's a horror film.
John, how would you feel about the critique that Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory is really the film Seven, but with children as victims?
Pretty much, yeah.
That's pretty legit, actually.
Yeah. And of course, now when we did Transgressive Horror and I appeared on the Ghost Show, I also said that if you're doing the Johnny Depp treatment of Willy Wonka, any parent who would show up, meet that guy, and not immediately turn around would be like, no, you deserve to lose your kid to Child Protective Services, because no. And so now we're 5th volume, and I was a little vexed. But decided
just keep vexing you.
The 1960 version of The Time Traveler, which is actually a way grimmer and sadder film than I think most people realize. Although it is not as grim as the novella. Actually, it wasn't a novel, but the novella of H.G. Wells, because that book, especially the one that includes the chapters that are typically omitted in the reprintings, it makes clear that there, there's no future for any of humanity's descendants. I mean, they end up as the Eloi, which in the book are much more intellectually stunted and physically stunted. They're basically these childlike dwarvish creatures or elvish creatures who function at the level of 5 to 10-year-old children. They degenerate into basically the ecological niche of a kangaroo, of a miniature kangaroo. And the Morlocks end up just being these completely non-sapient, unthinking, opportunistic predators. So yeah, and then the time travel goes a little further, where he's just watching the sun go dim. So I don't know what H.G. Wells was going through at that point in time, but yeah, not.
He was.
I'm going to argue that the movie is a lot grimmer than it initially appears to be. But yeah, the novella, yeah, it's literally lights out.
I have to say,
family, I famously read that I finished it in the waiting room to see that my pediatrician is an elementary school student, and my happy smiling pediatrician greeted me just as I had closed it for the last time, and he said, "So how are we doing today?" And I looked up at him with my 8-year-old eyes and said, "I'm not sure anymore." All right. Well, okay. Well, you anticipated my question of asking about your book and about the movie that you're doing for this book. So yes, John is doing the classic George Powell 1960 Time Machine, and I always a favorite of mine. I'm glad to have it in the book. And if it's okay, I want to spin it back around here and give Jason a chance to talk about your. I loved the choice. I loved the topic, but your essay opens with a discussion of how you're going to talk me into wanting to publish this movie, and that hit me right in my flinty editor heart. So please tell the folks about your very unusual choice.
First, I have a question for Chloe. Is that a Slapshot the film T-shirt?
It's not. It's Slapshot the band, but
okay,
they named it after the movie.
Okay.
Okay.
And I just wanted you to know that all small presses are ramshackle.
Oh yeah.
I've worked with hundreds.
We're all in this together. We all have headaches. We all have too much caffeine in our system. It's fine. We're functioning.
So I saw Ken Hite, who has a work in the upcoming collection at the Origins Game Fair this year, and we were having dinner. I described this in my article. Where he asked me what I was doing for the collection. And I told him I was going to do On the Silver Globe, Zalowski's On the Silver Globe. And he said, "I thought you were going to do a film that was transgressive." And I said,
Damn.
It is transgressive. It got bad. It got destroyed. Most of it got destroyed by the Polish communist government, and the director fled the country, and made one of the most horrifying films about possession of all time, just to process, the experience of having his masterpiece mostly destroyed. And to which Ken retorted that a subversive film, a transgressive film, is one that people have actually seen and had some influence, which is why he picks Scanners.
Pshaw. I'm calling shenanigans.
Yeah. So that's what Ken had to say. I refute this a bit in my essay, that this is actually a film that On the Silver Globe, which unfortunately we're never going to see all of. You can see 80% of it in lowish quality on YouTube. You can get a high definition version, an HD version as well. But of course, it never went through the final stages of filmmaking. It never went through post-production and all that stuff. But there was something very much in the air, I think, in Europe as far as science fiction filmmaking went in that period of the 70s, where you had, I can never pronounce his name right, Jodorowsky, Alejandro Jodorowsky.
Alejandro Jodorowsky. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. He was kind of, somebody had crazily given him millions of dollars, and he was bebopping around Europe trying to make Dune, casting, Orson Welles and Mick Jagger and Pink Floyd and Salvador Dali. also hiring Geiger and a lot of other people who would go on to make Alien and Star Wars to do the set design and to do all the, what are those books called before you make it? The art book before you make a movie. What are those called formally?
The galleries?
The galleries, the galleries. Yeah. Like the art book, they exist still, of all the artwork that never got turned into a film for Jodorowsky's doing. Of course, there's a documentary too. So I think there was something in the air in Europe, because, Star Wars was made at almost the same time as On the Silver Globe was being made. There were things happening, and it was just sort of in the air that somebody was going to make a truly breakthrough science fiction film that was going to be genre redefining. And that turned out to be Star Wars at that time. But
yes,
it wasn't as crazy and introspective as psychedelic as On the Silver Globe was, or Jodorowsky's film would have been.
Hence the booing,
Yeah. But I think there was something in the air. And I do think, and there's a lot of argument over, have you guys seen the great East German inspired film, The Lives of Others?
Yes.
Oh.
It's the greatest of all anti-communist films. It's called The Lives of Others. Completely see it. Storyboards. Thank you, Joe. Storyboards. Thank you. And so there is something to be said about the transgressiveness of a film that gets suppressed. On the other hand, if you watch The Lives of Others, the main character who's being basically destroyed as a creative person by the state, it's really happening because a high-ranking party official wants his fiance as a mistress. And so there are rumors that On the Silver Globe got destroyed and suppressed more because it went wildly over budget. And a new head of that department in the communist government came in and said, what is this? And why have you spent the equivalent of millions and millions of US dollars on it? Get rid of all that. We're starting over. So it's never been 100, but I prefer the romance of the suppression over budgetary considerations. But there is a possibility that the director, that he wasn't a popular person with the government of his country.
Imagine.
To put it mildly. It's possible it was things other than just like a suppression of the film. But hey, John. So you mentioned that Fantastic Planet, which is an amazing film, was a joint French-Polish production.
Maybe I'm misremembering.
You said French-Polish. I thought it was purely French.
You may be correct. Maybe I'm thinking of one of the people who worked on the film. I could be mistaken.
Because there is a lot to be said for, at its best, pre like communist era Eastern Bloc science fiction. I mean, there's genre of exceptional films like Stalker and Solaris and stuff.
According to John right now in Subversive Sci-Fi, it is a Czech-French co-production.
Czech.
Oh, Czech. Okay.
Yes, Czech and Czechoslovak. Well, Czech and French. Czech Republic and French, I guess. Or back then, it would have been Czechoslovakia.
Right. So the Solaris, the author of the actual book, was Polish, right? For Solaris.
Yes. Yeah.
Right.
Stanislaw Lem.
Right. Lem. So there was like a lot of literary action, I think, going on with science fiction in the communist era.
Stanislaw Lem is dead brilliant. I'd recommend any of his works. They really are like Fantastic Planet. They are like nothing else. The first Stanislaw Lem book I read was the my goodness, no, I don't want to. It wasn't the Mechanoids. It was something similar.
You don't have to sell me on communist science fiction. That is a product of the communist world that I actually appreciate.
Stop drilling the pit oil.
Really, it was satirical, but it really anticipated. Well, goodness, it anticipated the replacement of humans by AI.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I know the story you're talking about. I don't remember what it's called either, but I know what
the Siberiad. Yeah, the Siberiad.
Yeah. Anyhow, check out my essay on the upcoming book where I talk all about this film you've probably never seen, readers.
I have not.
That was suppressed, that we have tantalizing, crazy snippets of, and they are intense and wild to watch, that just never got finished. And take it away, Chloe.
Oh boy. See, that's a hard one to follow up on because both of you have chosen such like dramatic, interesting, poignant movies, and I chose a canon film. So when Chris asked me if I wanted to do this again, I said, well, which subject are we doing? Like, which genre thing are we doing? And he said, we're doing subversive sci-fi. And I immediately, I'm pretty sure within seconds of you sending that, said, I want to do the apple. and it's this canon film that came out in 1980, and it is, unfortunately, I strong disagree. It's regarded as what killed the movie musical for a while.
Not enough people saw it to kill for it to have killed the movie musical.
The other shame of it.
That might have been like Annie.
You can't blame the apple.
No,
the 1-2 punch of Xanadu and Can't Stop the Music standing right there in the room with guilty.
I don't know how soon after Annie the music, like the movie Annie, followed, because
Annie was 82. All the rest of this was
Chloe, was Xanadu a science fiction film?
Oh, no, I think Xanadu was a drug-addled fantasy.
They're not mutually exclusive.
They don't have to be. They don't have to be mutually exclusive. I have a dream of renting out the Miniplex here in Portland and doing a triple feature of The Apple, Xanadu, and Beyond the Valley of the Dolls. I have a dream.
I'm about to say I'll drive up from Gerlach for that. That sounds great.
Like, because it's It's this movie that came out in 1980. Nobody saw it. It's this, for being low budget, it is shockingly high caliber, but it was it was the screenplay and directed by Menachem Golan, who headed up Canon Films for the longest time. And if you ever get a chance to watch Boogaloo Boys, the documentary on Canon Films, is one of the best film documentaries I've ever seen in my life. And I feel like in talking about the Apple, I do have to say that somebody was talking about Golan in his studio in the Canon offices, and somebody said, Menachem, somebody's called in a bomb threat, and he goes, tell them to go fuck themselves. And I was like, this is a person that I will idolize for the rest of my life. And so I've been watching every single Canon film, as many as I can find. I'm lucky enough to live in a city that has a rare movie rental store. Yay. But the Apple is, it is a sci-fi movie because it is set in the far off future of 1994. And where everybody, like, it has future fashion, which is just kind of spangly loincloths, which I also love, lots of spandex. But it's a whole story about the downfall and pitfalls of the big music industry. And it came so far before so many of these stories and biopics and all this shit and drivel that we're getting now. And it's in this retro future of 1994. It's a musical. The songs are all bangers for no reason. There's but it's, don't worry, it's also a Bible allegory for the story of Adam and Eve.
I was worried. Tell me more.
I thought you were going to be concerned, so I thought I would mention it. Yeah, why not? It's also an Adam and Eve tale with the devil, Mr. Boogaloo, by the way, heading up the record company. And there's a song.
Call him Louis Cypher. I mean,
there's like
now Colm is going to be trying to get into the broadcast to defend
was it
Angel
made
Heart.
around? Was it made around the same time as Rock and Rule, the Canadian answer to the animated film Heavy Metal?
Oh,
They're
you know
about-
what?
yeah.
It might be.
That
They're
had a satanic record executive as well.
Rock and Roll was 83.
Ah,
Mm.
Oh, beat him to it.
Mm.
Subversive. And so but it's actually a really great story about the problems of the music industry and about how fame can distort people and ruin people, all because it's what's best for the image. And on top of that, like, God comes down and raptures everyone in a white Rolls Royce at the end of the movie. There's an orgy where there is a song literally just called I'm Coming. There is a song called Speed. Guess what that's about? Like, and it's a movie that somehow no one has seen. And it makes me excited to watch it every single time. It is never not good. I watched the documentary, the Boogaloo Boys, before I had even seen the movie. And no shit, they showed clips from the Apple, and I immediately went on eBay and bought it. It came a couple of days later, and I've watched it like on a regular basis as background noise while I'm working since then. It's perfect. It's a perfect movie. And the arrangements are really good. The costumes are great. There's lots of great voices. Miriam Margolyes shows up as a Brooklyn Jewish woman for no reason. There's so many layers to what's fun about it. And yeah, so I feel like you both have chosen really intelligent examples.
No. I'm fascinated. Does the orgy happen before God arrives or after God arrives?
The orgy happens before God arrives because God only arrives.
That's typically the way it goes. So
God only arrives after Adam and Eve have joined a hippie cult living in a cave in the woods away from everything. So basically, like, they were like getting rid. It's like people shutting down social media now. That's basically what they did. And then the cops come after them and go, "You still owe us for your record contract." And then God comes down in a Rolls Royce and raptures them. And that's the end of the movie.
I did because I had seen that film as a kid somehow. I think it's when my family, when HBO first became a thing, they had it for a short time, and I thought it was like, oh wow, this is amazing. And but HBO didn't really have the rights to any particularly notable films, so they showed things like The Apple. And
because Cannon didn't give
Phantom
a
of
shit.
Paradise on HBO for the first time.
So again, when was Jesus Christ Superstar released?
Oh,
74.
That was okay. So they're not of a period. Okay.
yes,
Not quite.
they're not
Right.
not of the same period, but there's clearly there's some sort of influence happening there. It is very it's very glam. The whole thing's very disco. There's lots of disco numbers, which I will never. I also, apparently the working title for it was Star Rock, which kind of is. I'm so glad they chose the Apple. They just went with the biblical allegory name instead to confuse everybody. But there is a song called The Apple, and if you listen to it from that film, it will be stuck in your head for days. And then because it's a song, it goes like groovy apple, something apple, and then you will start throughout the day, you will come up with 2-syllable words and add apple to the end of it.
I still remember they kept repeating "Eat the apple."
Eat the apple, yeah.
As a that's the allusion to the Garden of Eden and temptation and the fall from grace and like I said, I did look it up one time. Once I became aware of Wikipedia. And years ago, I became aware of Wikipedia. I'm like, well, you can look up nearly anything. And the writer of the film, he really thought it was going to be a smash hit, that it was going to establish his career. He had a lot of
everything
confidence
that he
in
did.
that film.
Oh yeah, everything that he did, he was convinced that every single one was going to hit. I wish that all of us had that hubris, because God, imagine what we could do.
As I can attest from a previous volume of Ghost Show Press's work, no one working on Battlefield Earth thought they were making a bad movie. They honestly felt they were making a really great movie.
And bless
with a lot of Dutch angles.
Yes.
That's the secret to a cult film. There has to be at least one person there who thinks they're making the greatest film ever. It could be a Tommy Wiseau or a James Nguyen or an Ed Wood, but that's your ticket to everlasting fame, is just belief.
Exactly. The only other thing that I will add to, because I'm sure we'll get around to every movie all over again, but the one thing that they do that kind of struck me was they're talking about, how bad the music industry is and everything, but they have the World Song Contest, and they get these marks that they put on their head or on their face or something. Wow. And it's called the Boogaloo Industry, or I can't remember what it's BIM is the acronym for it. And so they call them BIM. They call them BIM marks. And then every single person in society has to wear their BIM mark on it. And they have a song. They have a break in the middle of the day where this pop song plays over speakers all over the city. And the song just goes, hey, 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 BIM's on the way. Hey, hey, hey. And that goes on for a solid 3.5 minutes while there are people doing kickflips and cartwheels.
Yeah. Yeah. The 80s was a good time. I remember.
It was beautiful.
I can pay the film a rare tribute. It's a film that has a great riff tracks if you're into movie riffing, but it's a film that's plenty funny all by itself. That's a remarkable cinematic achievement right there.
And as Rick James said to Charlie Murphy, cocaine is a hell of a drug.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. and by the way, if you also are a Canon Films fan, you definitely want to back this Kickstarter, because not only are you getting the Apple, our friend Rob Weiland is also talking about the Masters of the Universe movie.
Yay!
And if you like a little rock and roll in your music, our very own Aid Smith is also covering the animated heavy metal movie from 1980. So here you go. So without even planning,
just a lineup.
There are connecting threads there that we absolutely didn't plan on. It's just as weird as Fantastic Flops being all about cults. Okay, here you go. There you go. There are threads all over all over this one too. There
are at least 3 people with really great bad taste in this one.
Chloe, if I could ask you a final question.
Yeah.
I noticed that there's a larger than life Judge Dredd behind you.
Mm-hmm.
So what do you think? The Stallone movie or the other movie?
Well, what's funny is I've actually written about both in the Fantastic Flops. Because I'm a big Judge Dredd fan. I have a whole 2000 AD everything.
Wow.
I probably should have mentioned that at the beginning. I do actually co-host the official 2000 AD podcast with the guys over in UK.
Neat. That's really great.
Yes, the good, the bad, and the lawful. But I don't know. I can never really choose because I like them both for different reasons. I think that the 2012 Dredd is so good. It's just stupid good. Dredd doesn't take off his helmet. Already a great start, but it's that one plays the most like the comics do. But the Mega City one and design of the Stallone movie is absolutely incredible.
Yeah, I might say that the 2012 film with Carl Urban plays more like it's obviously more true to Dredd.
Yes.
Regardless of era of Judge Dredd, but it plays more to the comics in the last. Even though I haven't been, I kind of lost touch with the goings on, but every once in a while I check out Judge Dredd, and it's more true to what Judge Dredd is now. But if you look at what Judge Dredd was in the 80s and 90s, the Stallone film actually is more like that, because there was still a lot of serious happenings there, but there was also a lot of sort of the equivalent of like Britpunk Silver Age of comics going on there too. Where there was just also a lot of goofball weirdness, and I mean, Dredd always played it straight, as a character in his own books. But you had Otto Sump and the Ugly Factory, and you had Blockmania, and a lot of just other just craziness that you just couldn't take entirely seriously.
Where's your lockjaw tattoo, Chloe?
I don't have one.
You don't have a lockjaw tattoo. Okay.
I don't have a lockjaw.
If any of the four of us had a lockjaw tattoo, it'd be me.
Okay.
Yeah, for real. I believe it. Yeah, I think like I talk about Dredd every week, so I'm like, I got too much. There's too much hyper focus that will spill out of my skull if I get into that. But yeah, I think that like the Stallone one's great, and a lot of people shit on it, and for good reason. But it's fun. It's meant to be fun, and I'm sorry, comic book movies are meant to be fun. So I think it succeeded in that regard.
It had an ABC robot, didn't it?
It did. It had one of the ABC Warriors. It had Mean Machine in it, but it also had Rob Schneider. So
would it be better remembered if it weren't overshadowed by Demolition Man?
Yeah, probably. I think that probably is true.
Now, I would argue Stallone's acting was equally bad in both movies.
Stallone is never great. He's never great, but he's good. Or no, it's the other way around. He's never good, but he's great.
I have one counterexample. I think he's absolutely perfect in Death Race 2000.
Damn it.
Vito Machine Gun Joe. He was obviously the best suited. I mean, the original Rocky film.
Yeah, let's say Rocky.
I think First Blood. I mean, his just has a very, very limited range.
Yes, but that's why he's great.
Very good of a type. It was like, no one was John Wayne better than John Wayne, and John Wayne was actually a pretty good actor in the right role, like Red River, The Searchers, where he was, he did a brilliant job of that character.
True Grit.
True Grit. The Shootist, which was, I think, the last movie of his career.
Yeah, he was dying when he made it, so that was some of his best acting. Because that's it.
Yeah, so. 3 Godfathers. But when he tried to be not John Wayne, he ran into trouble.
Like when he tried to be Genghis Khan.
Yeah. Genghis Khan was one. There was some utter obscurity that a friend and I watched where somehow he was a German Navy captain during World War I mean, no.
Wait, do you mean there's a hidden version of Sound of Music with John Wayne out there?
You stumped me there.
That I don't know about? I mean, because it was 20, 30 years. But like Howard Hughes had to die before we got to see The Conqueror. That was Genghis Khan, right?
Yeah.
Oh,
it was kind of like a blink and you'll miss it.
I remember I was in my early 20s when it was actually released.
But it was just like even when he was an unknown and didn't really have a persona, he just didn't really work in that role.
He's just the idea of John Wayne as Van Trapp in The Sound of Music.
God, that sounds so magical.
Could we use AI to make that happen?
It's the only good use of AI. Yes.
He did admirable work in the Quiet Man.
Oh, I haven't seen that actually.
I haven't seen that either.
Yeah.
You know what? You say no one can play John Wayne better than John Wayne, but have you seen Nathan Lane in The Birdcage?
Yes.
Yeah.
The remake of True Grit 2 with slipping
Jeff
my
Bridges.
mind. Jeff Bridges.
Mhm.
Who's a far better actor, but he doesn't deliver the lines the same way that Wayne could.
All right. Well, while Jason is dealing with some creature that's wandered onto his property, and given that he's in rural Nevada, coyote, mountain lion,
Chickens.
Mothman, we don't know. But hey, let's keep the Nevada vibes rolling here. Straight from the state whose state motto I'm pretty sure is whores and poker, the one and only Mike Weatherford doing a last minute run in. Hello, Mike. We can't hear you because you're on mute. Or maybe you're trying to yell all the way from Nevada.
Sorry.
That's all right. That's all right, Mike. Your fellow Nevada resident Mike Weatherford did a run in while you were dealing with unspecified creatures.
Mike has a pool, so he's not from northern Nevada.
Well, Mike, we still can't hear you, my buddy.
Oh,
there you are. There you are.
Got me now?
Yes, you just had to
All
kick
right.
it.
Can you see the backyard drive-in screen?
Oh,
yeah,
we're the pool, but that's just frankly rubbing it in.
It's the backyard drive-in screen. Get your butts out here to watch the Apple.
Yes,
We're ready.
Yes, there you go.
I don't know if I'm shouting. I probably don't need to. You're in the backyard. You shout. Yeah.
Well, listen, we were all just randomly yammering about our books, and we got a good 20 minutes left. So you want to talk about your thing? Tell the folks who you are and what you're up to.
Mike Weatherford, a longtime entertainment journalist out here in Las Vegas, now semi-retired, joining the ugly, brutal Kickstarter world with my own self-published comic book, and I may. Monday or maybe Tuesday, 25 or 6 to 4, launch the 6th issue as a concurrent campaign, so we can cross promote the shit out of it. So,
all right. Well, and you're doing Westworld for the book. Why Westworld? What's your take on Westworld?
I am. Well, I figured you guys needed this episode needed a movie we've all seen, and then you know I it's one that's obviously was it was a big deal when I was a kid, and I felt like the HBO series was such a big deal and so convoluted and so big budget that maybe it kind of diminished the reputation of the original one, and I needed to set out to rehabilitate it a little bit.
Nothing diminishes Yul Brynner in that movie.
Only Yul Brynner can be Yul Brynner.
Coolest robot gunfighter assassin ever.
And this is the thing when you go back and watch these later. I mean, as a kid, I don't think I knew about Magnificent Seven, and I didn't really realize. I probably read that he was kind of reprising his character out of Magnificent Seven, but I didn't have any appreciation. I mean, the dads watched the Westerns, and I didn't watch Westerns unless they were running Jesse James meets Billy the Kid meets Dracula or whatever. Those are the only. Yes, but when you think about it, that's genius. I mean, it was made by a different studio, so they had to be cagey about it. But they actually took the character out of the one movie and made that robot the same character. So these guys that are of the age of knowing about Magnificent Seven go to this robot theme park and they see the gunslinger from the movie. It would be kind of like, if Disneyland were to do this Star Wars area and all the Star Wars characters were walking around in it.
But it would be the sequel trilogy characters. People would just kill them.
Yeah.
I have a fun little aside. So my other choice, if it wasn't going to be the Apple, was going to be essentially the sexploitation version of Westworld, which is called Sex World.
Yes.
I love that movie with my whole heart. I love it with my whole chest.
That was that might have been seen in Oklahoma in a heavily edited version. I can't remember if it was either at the Capri Drive-In or in those early days of VHS. But Oklahoma, that's in a sense that's why these those porn movies bothered with the story scenes and the and actual production values is so states like Oklahoma could chop most of the porn out and still run them. So.
I am trying so hard to figure out what an edited version of that would look like. You can't edit out a guy getting the racism fucked out of him. Like,
Wait, but was that like a softcore pornography like
Oh, no.
parody, or was it
was-
the actual sequel? Because there was a sequel to Westworld, correct?
Two, technically.
Future World. Yes.
There's nothing softcore about it. There is up close
Oh.
penetration.
Yeah.
Okay.
But it also, I mean, you
Not
can't
in
imagine.
Oklahoma.
Not in Oklahoma.
They actually like
I
they
remember
rented a
Future World
bus
had,
and
like, the Roman slave girls, the droids, and when I saw it, I didn't quite realize what would have been going on there. This is the era, the innocent era before like the advent of the real doll. So
Now seems a good time to mention that if you would like to see that essay from Chloe, two ways to make that happen. If we fund every $200 I make over $7,000 adds an essay to the book, and I would be hard pressed to say no to that one. Or if you just straight up want to make this happen, check out our higher level reward tiers at the Kickstarter. Just go to the link below, and you can buy yourself the right to have the movie of your choice added, and it could be that one or something else. But that's the thing, it's your choice. So if you would like to see some of these stranger things wander into our book, you can make that happen. All you have to do is help us fund or give a very, very generous reward, and the least we could do is do your favorite movie. So
give me an excuse to spend a whole paragraph talking about the hairiest bush you've ever seen in your life.
that would narrow the 70s movies down much. That one is total Boogie Nights in the scene where, Burt Reynolds, waxes about how he would love to make a movie with production values that people stayed around to see how the story came out. I mean, you can't imagine any porn now bothering to rent a bus and put a banner on the side of it that says Sex World, and they're headed off
They did it
to
with
go to
acrylic
Sex
paint
World.
and duct tape. Just
Yeah.
Godspeed, adventurers.
Hey,
Well, you have to do this. We have to do them as kind of a double feature thing or something.
There you go.
Amazing.
I'm not going to dwell on it in my essay, but the back half of my essay is going to at least briefly touch on the fact that even though in the 1960 version of the time travel, even though the fact that the Eloi are actually not Homo sapiens, like they are just as much a different species as the Morlocks, even though that's downplayed because they're just depicted these, very short, slim, uniformly platinum blonde and pale human beings. And even though there's still the fact that the scientist character, he's, because of the sort of the demands of Hollywood studio filmmaking at the time, there had to be this, love interest in what was superficially a science fiction action adventure movie. Yeah, technically speaking, he falls in love with a female member of another species who, frankly, operates at best at the intellectual and emotional level of a tween. I mean, there are some unfortunate implications there.
The film was made in the 70s, right?
1960.
No, it was 1960.
Oh, the original. Which version of the Time
travel.
Machine are we talking about? The 60 one?
Yeah,
We're talking about the
1961.
original one, the first theatrical, 1960.
Yeah.
Okay, and that's the one you're doing for the for the book. Okay.
Yes.
All right.
And no, there's no romance in H.G. Wells's novella.
Yeah, we can't give the filmmakers the excuse of it being the 70s in this case.
No.
There's just a pardon that starts at like 1971.
69 to 79. People did not seem to be thinking right about these issues somehow.
It's the David Bowie, Jimmy Page correlation.
Yeah.
It's officially known as.
Yeah, I don't think it was anything the filmmakers thought too much about, but when you think about it, that's one of the reasons this is a little subversive.
All righty. So yes, we're going to take the beloved George Powell classic and add a layer of ick. You won't want to miss that.
I didn't write the film. But actually, my essay is mostly dealing with the fact that it's called, the title is "But Not the World," because there's a line in the film by the time traveler's best friend near the just about the very end, that he has all the time in the world. Actually, he doesn't. If you look at what he's actually able to do, it's really very little. I mean, he does all a man in his situation can do, a person that can do. I mean, he saves lives in the then and there, however you want to define then and there in in a time travel film, but he can't stop wars. He can't stop what happens to humanity. He honestly probably cannot say, if you look at things through cold hard reality, he probably can't save the Eloi. It's questionable. If that's all that remains of humanity are the Morlocks and the Eloi, then our descendants are probably doomed anyway. There aren't enough of them.
Isn't it better when in an H.G. Wells film the protagonists can't manage to affect things a lot? I think of Things to Come. Isn't it maybe a lot better when Wells's characters aren't really able to act on their environment? Like
strangely for a futurist, I mean, a lot of Wells' work is surprisingly sort of grim in the end.
Mm-hmm.
It's not terribly optimistic. I mean, there are spots of hope. And like I said, the movie is certainly much more hopeful than the book, which just when the two chapters that are normally omitted from the book, they just they're like, the time traveler witnesses that humanity has just descended into non-sapience. One is these small herbivores, the other are these nightmarish predators. I mean, they're much worse than what the Morlocks became. They're just unthinking beasts. And then he sees the world just grow dim, and all that remains are these grotesque aberrations. And he never returns to his home time period. So, that's how the book actually ends. So at least the movie leaves it open, and maybe the time travel can improve the lot of the future a little bit, at least.
Still rather live in that than the future of Things to Come.
Well, yeah.
Our friend Joe Marini bailing us out again points out you're just exposing the layer of ick.
Yeah, do it.
There you go. Well, we're getting down to about 5 minutes and change before I start turning into a pumpkin and things like that. So this is the time of the show where we traditionally give these incredibly talented people a chance to talk about other stuff that they're working on that they might want you to know about. And so we'll take it around the table and see. Jason, what else have you got going on? What do you have in the pipeline these days?
I have just released my new card game, Argumentation, which is a game that helps you discover how you feel history works. Over at Hero Games, we're working on Justice Inc. for 6th edition.
Oh, wow.
We have a complete manuscript I've been editing. We've been putting through the Patreon account. Looking forward to that. And also at Hero Games, we're just about to release through Bundle of Holding currently unreleased Strike Force Organizations, which is a final treatment of the work of a friend of several of ours here, Aaron Alston, now sadly deceased. Yeah, it'll be the final.
One of the best RPG books ever.
And this is a sequel book to it. We'll be releasing shortly. So that is what I am doing. That's public facing at the moment.
All right. Okay. Well, we won't ask you about any of your covert activities.
I can tell you all about projects that aren't public yet, but maybe it's Chloe's turn.
Yes, indeed.
Okay. So right now I am publishing a little zine called Trash Humper. That is aptly named after the Harmony Korine project. And it's all transgressive and subversive film, comics that people have generally completely forgotten about that they really should remember, and sometimes some music, sometimes whatever weird art I've been creating lately. I'll make sure to put the link up. But it is available right now as a PDF on Gumroad. I'm also, if you're in the Pacific Northwest, it's all over zine shops and comic shops over here. And you can also listen to this voice talk about Judge Dredd and British comics and a bunch of other nonsense every single Wednesday on YouTube for 2000 ADs in Orbit every Wednesday. My God, they're sending me over there for a convention in November, and it's going to be very special. So yeah, make sure to at least tune in for me and my exceptionally tall co-host. They've started referring to us as Lanky and the Gremlin. And so that, if that gives you any idea of what you can tune into. But that's basically everything for me that I'm doing right now. God knows there's 10 other things that pop up every other week, because that's the nature of creativity.
Indeed, indeed, indeed. John, you have anything you're working on you want to talk about?
So I am on some unfortunate real world circumstances have kind of had a lot of things on hold in the last year and a half. And then just when I thought some of that was over and done with, I did suffer a detached retina due to an eye injury.
Ouch.
So still healing from that. But decided I've kind of committed. I do want to get a children's book done and submitted. And it depends on whether I can go through a publisher or get it self-published. But it's about one of my two current dogs, my little Yorkie Oliver J, and just when he decides he wants to prove to everyone he's very brave.
So, what kind of dog?
He's a Yorkie.
Oh,
yeah.
So small.
If you can strike while the good boy iron is hot.
Yeah.
You can
Has anybody seen it yet?
No,
I've
been interested.
Okay.
I read enough to where I know that I can't. I will just be a big 260-pound crying, sobbing blob that will need to be carried out, and nobody should have to do that. So I think I'll wait till I can cry on my own couch. Yes. All right. And Mike, what's up in the world of Drive-In Kings?
Yeah, a couple things. Previously mentioned, tomorrow or Tuesday, I'm hoping to launch the 6th issue of Drive-In Kings in 1977, about 3 teenage guys in 1977 who go to the drive-in. They would love to have seen a chopped down version of Sex World with Leslie Beauvais. But instead, they end up pulled through the drive-in screen into the world of the movies that were very specific to drive-ins of that day. So next couple days, hope to get that campaign off the ground. And then work I did a long time ago during the pandemic. I actually worked on a documentary, and I didn't know anything about how to make a documentary, so a lot of chefs in the kitchen, but the finished product finally came out. It's on video on demand, and it's called Vinny Plays Vegas. It's about true story, stand-up comic who had a bad gambling habit and conned a lot of people out of a lot of money. So find that one on video on demand.
Ooh, and folks, there's no better town for stories than Vegas, and there's nobody who does a better job of telling Vegas stories than Mike Weatherford. If you haven't checked out his book, Cult Vegas, masterful, great stories.
I'm gonna have to
told
look into that. That sounds like a lot of fun.
More of those. The moment where he talks about how there was a week in Vegas history where you had Frank Sinatra, Elvis, Bela Lugosi, and Ronald Reagan all in Vegas at the same time. And you see, sort of like my dream retirement project is I want to write how they had to team up to solve a murder mystery. That's my springboard off of Mike's book, but plenty of stories just as good as that. All right. Well,
Giving me
my
historical fiction ideas.
Indeed. Now, my story is I would love to get a book, this book out full of amazing stories from these amazing writers. As much fun as they are to talk to and hear from, reading them is every bit as wonderful. And if you've checked out any of these, you know how great and funny and insightful, and I never would have thought of that, or I never would have heard of this movie otherwise, these folks are. And we just want to keep this going for you guys. So we need your help. We are at that part of the middle part of a Kickstarter where every bus that passes is a temptation to jump in front of it. So please, this is the critical part, folks. Every dime you can scrape up, every share you can on every social media platform, it's life and death for us. We were off to a great start. Don't get me wrong. We're so grateful for the support we've gotten so far. We're off to our best start ever. We just need to get it over the goal line, and we need you lovely people to help make it a great finish. Now, we'll be back at this same 8 p.m. Eastern time on Sunday the 19th for another episode of the Ghost Show with another hand-picked selection of the fine talent in my cast that makes these wonderful books happen. And we hope you'll join us for then. But for now, thank you to my wonderful guests for taking time to be with us tonight and for sharing your talents on these 4 and hopefully soon to be 5 fantastic books. But for now, my friends, we must close the Ghost Show until next week. Good night, all.
Good night.